What's up, beautiful people? It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today we'll have this very interesting video, and it's titled Exploring White Privilege. Also, I'm excited to check this one out, as this looks like a practical class, and I've been checking a couple of videos from here, and yeah, I'm excited to hear what they've got to say on this one. Let's check it out.
When you guys hear conversations about white privilege and white supremacy, what do you hear?
I mean, people usually just bring up white privilege, and I don't know, I live in a privileged area, so I hear it a lot from, I guess, other races other than people of my color. They're not usually like saying anything bad. They're saying how it is, and they're saying how they see it, and usually there's better areas like where I live. Near Baltimore County. Baltimore County is not the best area, but then where I live, it's a better area. So people make those differences, like real world differences that I agree with, but I mean, I don't argue with them. I just witness it how it is.
So what's it mean though? So in other words, do you see yourself as privileged?
Yes.
What's that mean for you?
Just means I have it better than other people, and I just accept it.
What's it?
Yeah.
That
I may have more money than other people. I may be living in a nicer area than other people.
Okay, so privilege for you, the way this conversation gets defined is that privilege is about resources and about like money and a house and opportunities and this kind of thing. Maya, how about you?
I haven't obviously benefited from white privilege, but I do see it. Like I said, I grew up in Northern Virginia, which is a predominantly white area. And so I get to not really experience it, but I get to see other people exerting it in everyday life that they don't really realize or recognize. But I can recognize it from my background and my experiences.
So what would it mean to benefit from white privilege for you?
Like for skin color, or
just what would it? You said, yeah, I haven't really benefited from white privilege. So what do you mean by that?
But I haven't really benefited by it, or I've been So I think for myself, I am lighter skinned compared to a lot of other black people, and I do recognize that. I do benefit from it because when I'm in more like white environments, a lot more people will come up to me than to my friends who are of darker complexions, and they feel more ready to be open and more friendly with me, and be willing to give me more, not information, but willing to talk more,
just engage
willing
more.
To engage.
So you have benefited from white privilege?
Yes. But since I'm not white, I'm not getting the full privilege. But since I am lighter, I'm still benefiting from some of it.
So what would full privilege look like?
So I think full privilege would be. So I went to I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but George Marshall High School in Vienna, Virginia. So like the population I think is 50% white, 30% Asian, and I think 2% black. And so I've grown up a lot around like white people, and so growing up around them, it's more like, it's not, I think a lot of it is you're not, it's unapologetically going after more like what you want or what you think is yours. And so you don't have to think about other people or your circumstances or surroundings. It's more like you're not as inhibited as someone who's kind of more raised with because I'm kind of raised with some things will limit you because you are a woman, because you are black. But with having white privilege, it's one less thing limiting you. Okay,
so hang on, I'm just going to push on to something here. So you're what social class are you?
I said I'm upper middle class.
And bro, how about you?
Say like upper middle.
Upper middle? Okay, so then Maya, but upper middle, so that allows you so you lived then around a certain class of white people also.
Yes.
Right? And so it's white privilege by extension. Yeah, okay. Devin? What's what's when you hear that white privilege? What's that? What's it mean for you?
To me, it just means that like my skin color in and of itself does not make my life any harder than someone who is a person of color. Like I will never question if something, if something bad happens to me, was it a result of my skin color? I hope that makes sense.
Well, yeah, except that things could happen to you that you could like maybe not get a job or something because you're white. Like someone's getting like, yeah, I can't hire you because you're white. We need more black and brown people. There are all sorts of things that could happen to you. I just want to push on that a little bit.
I mean, from my perspective, I grew up in Philadelphia, so I do hear like both sides of, I guess, the white privilege thing from white people. I mean, like there are white people that I know that grew up with not a lot, and so they think that they can't possibly be privileged.
Well, okay, hang on. Let's go with you though.
Okay.
So you identify as lower.
Yeah.
Or
When growing up, I was lower middle class. Now I'd say I'm more working class.
Okay.
Family.
Okay. So, but is that? Wait, hang on. You're upper middle class. Lower
middle class.
Lower middle class, working class, right? Can Maya? Wait. Do you have more privilege than Maya? Dude, she's living in a really sweet neighborhood, by the way.
But I do have white privilege. Would I say that her life is privileged in other ways? I'm sure. But her skin color versus my skin color, I will always get the upper hand.
Always?
You think?
I'd say so.
Nah.
Do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
Daniel, do you agree with that? She's always going to get the upper hand over Maya?
No.
I wouldn't say always, but usually yes, with being white.
Maya, do you think that?
I think yes. I mean, I'm not sure what her. I think it depends on what the situation is, but I think in most cases, yes.
Yeah. Huh. So listen, let me just say. I want to say something about where I'm going here, right? For me, as an instructor, we like throw these terms around a lot, like white privilege and white supremacy and whiteness and white this and white that and whatever. Like white people just have power, and white people are special, and white people whatever, right? And then I'm like, I'm gonna just sit in. I'm gonna just take you, and I'm gonna say, all right, let's just put you in the lower class for a moment, okay? So you're gonna be a representative instead of lower middle class, working class. I grew up in the working class. So like I'm there on that. So like, but I'm gonna just hold you there. But like, look, the way I see it is like these two right here, Daniel and Maya, they have some things. Like if you went to their neighborhoods, right? Because I know where y'all live, right? If you saw the cars their family drove and their neighbors drove, and this kind of thing, and do you think if you really saw that and let's pretend for a moment that Daniel isn't white, that he's black, because dude, first off, you do understand there are black people in this room who are rich,
yeah.
like rich, man.
Yes.
Y'all know who you are, and maybe at some point you'll come up here later in the semester, but like, come on, man. Maybe Maya is one of them. But the point being, like, let's. I just want to open this conversation up a little bit, right? Like, how do we get to this place where it's just automatically assumed? Like dude, imagine where Maya lives for a second, and you're sitting here, going like, yeah, but I have this privilege, and I'm like, dude, go home with her over Thanksgiving break, man, and come back and report back to us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What do you?
I think because I have been exposed, like my roommate, he's from Colombia. He drives a Benz, and it's like his prized possession. So
Colombia, the country of Colombia?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has always been somebody that I look up to in his work ethic and whatnot. But I still feel that on the topic of white privilege, it's intrinsic to my identity. You know what I mean? Like there is no, like my social class and my social upbringing is not readable when I walk into a room. What is readable is my skin color.
Yeah, I got you. It's kind of like Isabella, right? A little bit, right? Like I know, like if I know the upper class in Quito, so I know where Isabella's from. I know who she is, right? But okay, this is poverty in the U.S. Okay, this is defined in different ways. Look, you got 40 million poor white people in the U.S. What do you say to all those white people? Those 40 million white people. Hang on, look right in the camera, actually. And what do you say to them?
Well, poverty isn't always generational, but that is a giant factor in a lot of people's upbringings and how much wealth they have. Because a lot of things that, well, I think I've had discussions before about what is wealth and what's the difference between wealth and having money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And having wealth is meaning that you can tide it over to future generations and that they'll be okay. But having money is just you having enough for yourself in this lifetime.
Okay.
And I think a lot of factors play into, a lot of people do have money, but not a lot of people have wealth. And I think that's a giant thing, that and financial literacy also, and knowing what to do with that.
Okay, all right. Now, you know what you just sounded like right there? You sounded like a really privileged, educated, smart American. Forget about the fact that you're black for a second.
Yes.
You sounded like a privileged American in that response right there. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to look into the camera, and I want you to talk to 40 million white people who all have white privilege. So hang on. White people, 40 million white people. Y'all have a shit ton of white privilege. And no matter what, when you walk into a room, your whiteness is going to get you things.
Yeah.
Like, people are just going to throw shit at you because you're white. You know, and that's how it works. But Maya, right now, and Daniel and Devin, they're going to talk to you and tell you how you should think about all that white privilege you have. Okay? All right, so go ahead, man. What are you going to say?
I'm not really sure I understand the question.
Well, you got it. Good. Here, I got it. Oh, hang on. Here you go. You ready? Hold on. I'll do this. Here's the question, dude. I'll just sit right here. So I'm one of those white people, okay? And I'm going like, man.
Tell me about my
The
white
fuck?
privilege.
I have privilege. Like I can go see the doctor. I can't do shit. I'm poor, man. I'm working 3 jobs. I'm barely hanging on. And like, where's my privilege?
Exactly.
Just being white? Like, where's my privilege, man? Like, I'm so poor I can't even get a job at Walmart. Like, where's my privilege? All right, that's what I want you to respond to.
Okay. So what I'd say to that is...
No, to those people.
To those people?
To you, actually you. You could say to you.
Okay. To you, what you can think of is white privilege is not just this God complex. It's not, oh, I'm inherently better. It's not, I should have this job because I am white. It's because you get those little advantages, those little... When you say you have nothing, if you're white and poor, you still are white. And that in itself, with our country's history, does give you a little leverage over people of color. And
wait, over you?
Yes. I've been...
Well, hang on. Let me ask you this. Would you rather be poor and white? Poor and white, okay? You grew up, your mom works at a diner 20 hours a week because she's home taking care of her disabled father, and your father is kind of, I don't know, a crackhead, right? And you're white.
Okay.
Would you rather be, and really trying to survive, maybe disabled, forget the crackhead thing, disabled, like really working hard, or you ready? Or would you rather be you?
Of course I want to be me, because
Okay.
I know myself.
No,
but-
not
not
about
about
that,
that,
my friend. I'm talking about you, black, and wealthy? Because you're in the richest 1% of the world's population. So am I, by the way. So are you, by the way.
Okay.
The richest 1% of the world's population. So, Devin's, you're down a little bit, but you're all right. Would you rather be that person in white, or would you rather be you?
I mean, sometimes I would think that I'd rather be white, but I think with who I am now, I'd rather be in my circumstances.
All right, bro. What would you say? Thanks, man. Hey, by the way, I'm totally putting you on the spot. You got that, right?
No,
I mean,
they're
you got
doing
there's
great.
no answer to this. Like, basically, I'm just kind of backing you against a wall, and I'm going to see how you're going to come away from it. But, dude, how about you? Like, what are you going to say to all your white brothers and sisters out there who are really poor?
About
I would just say it depends person to person how much money they have, how much money they grow up with. It also could depend on where they're from, the opportunities that they have, I don't know, or just going to school, getting a job, things that, you know.
Dude, you're talking like a white. You know what you're talking like right now? You're just talking like a white guy who doesn't want to say anything racist, right? It's like, because holy shit, I'll get canceled and like my life will fall apart, and then I'll have to be like a Catholic priest the rest of my life or something, right? Just seeking alms from the poor. Look, is that what priests do? Do they do that anymore? I don't think they do that. All right, dude. I'm talking about this conversation we're having about white privilege, and I want you to go down into inner city Baltimore. Don't look, Baltimore, inner city Baltimore, 65% black, but pick out just the poor white people, and I want you to speak to them about their privilege. Compared to all the rich black and brown people, including in this room, by the way. What do you say?
I would say an example like that, I mean, changes the idea of white privilege. I don't know, maybe if they're walking to a certain kind of store, they have white privilege.
You mean so like the security guard doesn't follow them around?
Certain things like that, but...
Okay, hang on. What kind of car does your mom drive?
What kind of car she drives?
Yeah.
She
Don't
likes...
tell me a Tesla.
No,
Benz?
my family doesn't own a Tesla.
All right, okay.
But
because you only own Ferraris? Like, what? I'm just kidding. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive one of my parents' cars. I drive mainly a Honda Accord.
All right, okay. Oh, that's all right. That's cool. All right.
One of my parents' cars.
I'm just, as a white guy, I'm asking you, as a privileged white guy, which you are, I'm asking you, how do you respond to your, like what you do other white people do, you just get into this white privilege conversation about, yeah, well, I'm privileged because I have this, because I'm white. And I'm like, what about those 40 million people, man? You gotta take account of them. How do you take account of them?
He's trying to be careful with his words.
I guess the less wealthy white people, they still can have some white privilege, but they have the thought in the back of their head that there's people like their same skin color that have more privilege than them, so it becomes, I don't know, less of a factor in their lives. But I would say the lower class white people still have some kind of white privilege, even if they don't know it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right, dude. That's fair. I'm not gonna. Devin, as someone who grew up without a lot, do you sometimes hear this conversation about? Do you, when I say there's rich black and brown people in this class? You know what that means, right? I mean, like really rich.
Yeah.
How do you feel if they talk about the fact that you have all this privilege and like they don't? Do you have any thoughts? Like, do you have anything you want to say to them?
I think I feel differently because, once upon a time, I had a hard time wrapping my mind around the same question, like how could I have white privilege when I grew up in the way that I did? But our identities are intersectional. We have, we're existing in various systems of oppression and privilege. And so in that, sure, there are factors working against me, but there are factors working for me. And one of them happens to be that I am white. And so to all those white poor people, Sure, you're oppressed because you have a lower social class, but you are still advantaged because you are white. You are the dominant group.
All right. Okay. Hey, I'm not gonna push any further because whatever you understand. You all get what I'm doing here, right? I'm saying like we got to get outside of these like really narrow confines of how we think about certain things, and we need to just like up the game a little bit, like get out of it, right? Because these things are really complex, and we don't want simple stories. You don't want some. If you're thinking like all the other people are thinking, you're not thinking very smart in a very smart way. All right, we have it. Okay, thanks, man. Thanks for going with me, y'all. Right? All right. Okay.
Also, now I love this. I love this class because this is more practical. You get to hear people's opinion on different things. And just like a friend of mine, my very good friend would say, she's a YouTuber, by the way, just like what she would say is, if you're privileged or maybe you come from a wealthy family, own it. It's not your fault that your parents are wealthy. It's not your fault that you came from a privileged home. Or it's not your fault that you came from money. Own it. And that makes sense because I still don't understand. Now we hear this lady, let's talk about the black lady, because when you look at her, regardless of the skin color, she's privileged. And sometimes people place this thing to be like, okay, she's privileged, and like she said, she drives one of her parents' cars. There are some white people that their parents don't own a bicycle. So where did the white privilege come? Because for a fact, the fact that they can walk into a store and not be followed, that's not their fault. It's not your fault either that when you walk to a store, you will be followed. That's just what the society is placing to make it seem like it's normal or is okay. It is not your fault. But at the same time, the idea where people place and put to say, oh, white privilege is a thing, you're from middle class and you're black and you see yourself less opportune, less privileged than somebody who is white but from a lower class or like bottom. It don't make sense to me. And people placing this, now I'm not criticizing these people, I mean these are what they've been taught and they've been groomed because that's what society is placing as the norm, so therefore the people are running with it, but it's not. I mean, everybody is different based on these things. They categorically place all of this, place it differently. It's different people in different views, which we're not going to be taking that away from. But let's talk about the fact that regardless of what your skin color is, you're privileged. And that right there, what she spoke right there, is her privilege. And lost white people who don't even have what she had would see her as someone who is privileged. They won't even remember that they are privileged because of their skin. They won't even remember their skin color. The first thing that will go to their mind is, oh, this young lady is privileged. She has a better life than I do. That's what will come to their mind. Does that make sense? But it's just a tricky one, and I just can't wait when people would come out of all of this, because this is broken. Honestly, it is. That's why I always appreciate the fact that she owned it alongside the other white guy. They owned it. They are from money. It's not their fault they're from money. It's not their fault that they are privileged. That's what the parents has placed forward for them. And it's not their fault. Own it and just be it. But at the same time, don't be arrogant or rude about it, because there are some people who will come from money and they'll just have it all in their head, or it will just be all in their head and be arrogant towards other people, or be very terrible with that. But they owned it because, I mean, is that right there where would you rather be a white person, a poor white person, than be a black person of color with money? Which would you rather take? and she was placing it, or sometimes she would want to be the white person. Girl, no, you can be you, just do fine. That's perfectly okay. You're okay where you are. Don't let society make you feel some type of victim, or make you feel like you don't deserve what you have. It's crazy. You don't make sense to me. The exact same thing goes to a white person. When you see white people who are from money, and society will make it seem like, oh, they are more privileged. Yes, they are privileged because they came from money, and it's not their fault. They are more privileged than somebody. Therefore, there are so many things that have been placed that you can enjoy and benefit. Yes, but it's not their fault that they came from money, or they have all of those benefits, all of these things handed to them. It is not their fault, and they should own it. They shouldn't be embarrassed or be ashamed about these things to talk about it. Rather, they should be grateful that they have this opportunity placed forward. And I don't see all of these things as white privilege. It's just the way society just want to create like a divide between people, to say, oh, a certain person is more privileged than the other. Let's just take away the fact that we have white, black, purple, and pink. Let's say we have middle class, we have upper class, and the likes and everything. Let's place it that. Because who would have a higher or better job? Somebody who, regardless of the skin color, somebody who is from the higher class, or let's say middle to higher class, would have better jobs due to the fact that their parents, or they're from family that have lots of connection, so they can be able to, they can easily have better jobs than somebody who is white and the person is from the lower class or bottom, but the person is white, but the person can't get a good job, or get a job that a person who is black can get, based on the fact that this person is privileged, is from money, and the person, the family is well connected. I mean, all of these things should be placed forward. There are better opportunities where some people would have better than the other person, and it's not anybody's fault. Yeah, but I'm trying to get a point. I know people would look at it and say, but you have a white privilege. Can you activate your white privilege to get better jobs than somebody who is black and the person is wealthy? No. You can't activate your white privilege. It still does not make sense to me. And honestly, I'm still going to go with this one, which says, whether you're black, whether you're white, you're from money, your parents have got the money, your parents are wealthy, own it. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed about it. Honestly, that's just the truth. And since my friend, her name is Sarah Donald, by the way, since my friend said that, it's been here, because people get this kind of restraint where you hear them when they talk about the fact that they are privileged. They be like, oh, but I'm not white. Yeah, girl, but there are opportunities you can get because you're black than a white person. But no, I don't. This is not to even create more like a lengthy topic, but honestly, I appreciate this class and I love it. I'm definitely going to be checking more of this, because this was really insightful to hear different people's perspective and things based on how society is placing it to be a norm, which is not norm. But yeah, I love this one, an interesting class, by the way. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment down below. What are your thoughts about white privilege and what society is placing forward as white privilege and the likes? I really love your honest contribution on this. Do you think white people have better opportunities or better life than black people? Or do you think black people who are wealthy or from wealthy families have opportunities or have better opportunities than white people who are from the lower class or who are from the bottom? I really love your honest contribution to this. I mean, everybody feels differently about this topic, and yeah, I would really love to learn from you. You can share your perspective on this one, and also share other useful information you think might be really helpful. And until next time, see you in the next video.